Good evening, everyone. My name is Damian Cyan. I work at Adobe, as Thomas mentioned. I am a design accessibility program manager, and I work in the design organization within Adobe. Specifically, I work in the product equity team. And further specifically, I work in a specialization and a strategic focus of practice transformation. One layer down from that, how I achieve that practice transformation is through enablement and training. So that's my specialty and focus. Spencer Stoltz Johnson is our manager of our group, and my peers are Danny Burr, Juliana Rousel, and Noel Fall. I'm here to talk to you today about creating customized accessibility tools with artificial intelligence. I'm going to frame that conversation in a recent training that I was building for Adobe.com. And the group of people I was training were content authors and copywriters. And during this effort of building the training, I kind of had my epiphany that I don't want to rely on the automated testing tools from companies that don't do the work that I do. And I hope to share that epiphany with you and have you have your own epiphany tonight. We'll see. So this is how I start a training for this group. For content authors and copywriters, I stick to my main food groups: alt text, link text, heading text, tables, lists, color contrast, color alone, putting pause ability on motion, captions on videos, and identifying language of the page and parts of the page. I don't talk to them about anything else because they can't affect any change or outcome with anything else on the website. They're using a content management system. It's highly templated. They're very limited in what they're able to do. So I talk to them about that in great detail. And I have the link text piece here highlighted on my screen. And that's where I kind of dug in, and I decided that I'm going to build my own testing tools. And why that's special is that I am not an engineer. I'm not a software developer. I'm not a programmer. I am a subject matter expert. I am a very good tester. I'm a great user of assistive technologies. I'm a great auditor, and I can do training really well, but I am not a developer. So in the past, when I've had ideas to do things, I've had to rely on others. And it's a wall that I hit that I broke through. This is an example of one of the lessons that I would give to this group. On the screen, I have 3 cards. Each has a call to action. That call to action is the word open. It's a link. And what I teach people here, and the way that I teach this lesson, is that a screen reader user tabbing through this interface would hear open, link, open, link, open, link. If they pull up a list of the links on the Rotor tool using VoiceOver, which I'm picturing here, they're going to hear open, open, open. So the lesson that I give them is to expand on that. And the way that I tell them to do that in this environment with this group is to grab that adjacent heading and instead say open text to image, open generate video, open text to vector. And as I'm building this, I'm thinking, why am I not also building them a tool that would help them understand how to do that in their situation? So when they go back to their desk, they can actually take the lesson I've given them and feel comfortable and confident in doing the work. And one of my lessons the last part of the lesson I always give is that automated testing tools will only get you so far. And that exact scenario that I just showed you would not get picked up by Axe. It would not get picked up by Wave, by WebAIM. Andy, will give you a warning, and Arc Toolkit will give you a warning, which is cool. I didn't picture that all up here. So in the face of that, I decided I don't want to have that conversation with them again. And I don't want to have that conversation with them again on link text or any other of those 10 areas. And I want to build them something that will work for them. And again, I'm not a developer, so I use Cursor AI. And I had long conversations with Cursor AI to build a set of tools based on these parameters. I only want to look at links that occur inside of main. Content authors can't do anything in the header or the footer of the page. They're only working in main. Rule 1 is the one I just showed you. If you have the same link text that's going to different destinations, you owe me an ARIA label for those. Rule 2, if you do an ARIA label, you have to start off that ARIA label with the visible text. Learn more about what? Read more about what? Free trial of what? That's rule 2. Rule 3, if you put blue link text inside of a block of non-interactive text that's black, give me the underline. And did not look at the 3-to-1 contrast ratio because I think it's a cop-out. So here it is in action. Again, I am not a coder or a developer, but I did make a graphical user interface. I used a bookmarklet style, and it will analyze the page and get extremely granular about the environment that they are working in. So it will pick up CSS style names. It'll pick up component names. It'll pick up everything that's just germane to this group that I'm spending the time training. And here it shows a screen reader text. It shows why it's a failure. And it shows the suggestion, which I also built with Cursor AI. Can you give them the right answer? The right answer is pick up the H3 that's right above the link. It's always going to be the same thing in that component. So I can tell them that, and I can give them the tool so they have the confidence to do it on their own. Rule 2, the error that's caught here, the screen reader would read, get help from our support team, link. But the visible text label is contact us. So the tool also gives them the suggestion. The screen is not correct. I had the wrong graphic there. The real thing would say, contact us, customer support. And you can see that I do have listed out the levels of support from automated testing. They'll get you so far, but they won't do everything that I needed to do. And here is rule 3, where the link text is blue set inside of black non-interactive text. The only way to determine if that text is interactive is with the ability to perceive the color blue. So we put and I don't care if it's 3-to-1. That's a technique. It's non-normative. No. So why does it matter that I did that? One, I think that this is a conversation that a lot of us are about to have. If you go and ask your leadership for headcount, they're going to ask you what you're doing with AI. And I think it's time for us people like me who are not developers, who have ideas, to get ahead of this and start having really good stories to tell. Because it's going to come up, and it's going to come up really quickly. And this time last year, I wouldn't have had an answer, and now I do. So I'm hoping that you take the call. And if you're like me, you're not a developer, and you have ideas, don't let it stop you from building your own tools that do the exact thing that you need them to do for those people. I am not claiming that I am now a developer because I use Cursor AI. I understand that. I am not exercising a hubris to say I am now a software developer. But the cool icing on this cake, the development team for Adobe.com was a group called Consonant. They were making their own testing tool. And when they saw my testing tool, they said, can we please have that? I said, of course. And what they got was all the logic, they got code snippets, and they got my subject matter expertise, which they wouldn't have had on their own. So, yeah, I'm a minute shy, but I think I did it right. So that's my pitch. Go out and use Cursor AI and any other tool that you can. Build your stuff. Don't let anything stop you, and keep going at it until it works, which is what I did. So thank you.